I am very excited to share with you once again another fun technique. In the previous 13 episodes, I've shared with you my techniques which I developed to combat heartburn, acid regurgitation, and acid reflux. All these techniques became part of my earlier and later sound production process. For you to understand and for you to comprehend my supernatural voice, you need to have some insight about my techniques that I developed. In the previous episode, I shared with you how to silent a silent reflux. A silent reflux is also known as a laryngopharyngeal reflux. A silent reflux is a silent danger. I found that this, in many cases, is the most difficult to encounter because it has the tendency to operate under the radar. It sneaks almost unnoticed. Most times it will catch you totally by surprise. Many cases does not require medical care. It is very important to know that silent refluxes can be managed with lifestyle changes. In the previous episode, I shared a valuable list of preventative measures that could have some impact towards a changed lifestyle, which may even prevent silent refluxes. This technique of how to combat a silent reflux can assist you to be in a state of being proactive, more alert, and have a conscious participation in the outcome of the silent reflux. The amount of training and practicing will alternatively determine the level of your success. How to become consciously aware of a silent reflux. As I explained in the previous episode, by training myself to become at least consciously aware, I have trained myself to be in a state of alertness when sleeping. I will wake up as soon as the reflux enters my feeding tube. How would I respond? I don't enter into a state of panic. I know exactly what the call was for. I immediately enter into a state of alertness. That will give me enough time to voluntarily stop or to combat the reflux. Silent refluxes are normally small refluxes which deposits small amount of acid into the oropharynx. This technique assists to combat a silent reflux, to make my own life better, and also to share with you a technique that is very easy to carry out. I believe that many of you will have good success. I feel it is very safe, and it is definitely much safer than the reflux itself. No reflux I consider as safe. Every reflux has its consequences. They all cause some form of discomfort. If you have the ability, or if you have some victory to stop or even to slow down a silent reflux, you will become more confident to continue to practice more, to have even greater success. Only more than a year after I developed the very first two techniques could I lie down. That was heaven. These were devastating moments and difficult to recover from. I had to be very alert and ready to activate my muscles to stop or prevent events in progress. I was on a 24-hour shift of alertness. I have developed many techniques to combat all those conditions. I think that many of you are probably thinking, which of my many techniques do I favor? Do you mostly use the best techniques, the most effective or fastest techniques? All the techniques that I developed are very effective. They can all do the job. On a sliding scale of difficulty and complexity, the higher the difficulty and complexity, the easier to perform. The less organs and muscles are used, that quickens the response timing. When being conscious and awake, I would select a technique that is the most appropriate technique for that moment. That could change during the following condition. I might use another technique. The condition may even require me to change the technique in the middle of a technique. All depends on the severity of the reflux. Even when I am awake, I am not always aware of which technique my body has selected to stop the reflux. I would only know that after the event. Why is that? Because all my techniques became part of my autonomic nerve system. In a state of sleep, my body will also select a specific technique, also taking in consideration my body position at that moment. How does my body behave that way? I spent many thousands of hours to train my body and to behave in a manner that I want it to behave. I am in training all the time. When I lie down, I would engage into one of my techniques, only as a preventative measure. In the later years, when lying down, I would engage into lesser techniques or even no techniques, depending on my physical condition at that particular moment and what I have eaten. When I developed a new technique, I would at least for 9 months use that technique 80% of the time to be able to master it and to incorporate into my autonomic system. Currently, I am using my latest 2 techniques most of the time. My very latest technique was my miraculous laryngopharynx closing technique that I developed only recently. This is such an amazing technique that became part of my autonomic nerve system almost immediately. The technique how to combat a silent reflux I developed to help or assist the viewers whom became very dear to me, a method that is user-friendly, something that you already have, a method that you already use in various ways. This is not going to be new to you. When I develop a new technique, I potentially placed myself at a risk of being caught out, unprepared by a raging reflux. In order to eliminate that risk, I have many techniques at my disposal at any given time that provide me confidence, which remove all fears that I may face. However, with this technique, I have placed myself under a very high risk. Why do I say that? I was at a higher risk for the following reasons. To master this technique is complex, as you will learn. There are too many variables that may have a lesser effort to the outcome when trying to combat a silent reflux. With this technique, there is no closing of the laryngopharynx, which is the ultimate stopping action. My idea was to potentially have a way to combat that most of you would be able to do, and with good success. I tried to place myself in a position more or less equal to you, without the means of having all my techniques. I set myself up mentally to only use this technique as a first line of defense against a silent reflux. This is what I do when developing a new technique. I may always fall back and engage into another technique in an emergency. When I started something new, I put that in practice as from the first night. I was overwhelmed, surprised with the great success. That made me more adamant to succeed without using additional assistance. I had many closed encounters, and for almost 10 months I had victory over every silent reflux. My objective was to have good success and to share with you a technique that may assist you to some relief from a silent reflux, to assist you to prevent refluxes by adopting a changed lifestyle, to assist you to stop a silent reflux in action, and to manage a silent reflux. I want to share with you some valuable information that you should try to prevent doing, especially when you know that you could potentially face a reflux or a silent reflux. When you woke up in the middle of the night, don't drink a full glass of water and then lie down straight away. Rather have a small amount of water. Less is better at night. Water, for some reason, aggravates the condition. Water also dilutes the acid in the stomach, and it may flow easier into the esophagus. I also know from my past a glass of water can also result in a quick heartburn. Should we cut down on water? Not at all. Have as much as you like, but not at night. I am speaking to our friends out there that is suffering from refluxes or other conditions like gastroesophageal reflux disease. You have just had a silent reflux and you are waking up. Never a nice situation. When you wake up in a state of a fright, don't inhale a lot of air into your lungs. Let me demonstrate. When you wake up in a fright, you might inhale air into your lungs by doing this. Don't do that. This is a natural reaction. You may most certainly suck acid down your larynx. And don't burp when lying down. Raise your head. I want to encourage you to do the following. I have learned with my condition, the best defense is to attack, to be proactive by bringing on small refluxes to ease the atmosphere in the digestive system, to prevent or reduce the magnitude of the potential reflux in the stomach by allowing the pressure build up to be released. I suggest, especially when you are preparing for bedtime, which you should burp as much as you can. Do it cautiously, not to end up with a mouth of stomach content. Bringing on potential refluxes by using the stomach muscles to force the build-up pressure out the stomach. Let me demonstrate. I do this to participate actively under controlled conditions to settle the potential discomfort it may cause. This preparation will have a tremendous effect on the quality of your sleep. In the next episode, we are going directly into the practicing of this technique of how to combat a silent reflux. I will demonstrate and you may follow. Allow yourself to gain more knowledge and control. I trust that you are a little more enlightened and that you will also follow the next part of my testimony that is coming soon. I want to leave you with this promise. The Bible tells us about another promise in Matthew 21 and verse 22. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Faith is the main ingredient of any aspect of living out your relationship with God. In our walk in Christianity, we must receive first before we can share and give to others. You can't give anybody anything of which you don't have. If you don't have money, you can't give any money. If you have not received love, you can't give love. Jesus is describing that our prayers will be inspired by Him and infused with faith to receive from Him. Do we believe that? And if you do you believe that by faith that you will ask and receive the promises of God? Therefore, may God bless you all. Till we meet again, and goodbye.